I can always tell a man with a prison or an inmate mentality. And the reason I can tell is because they will always make it their business to humiliate or violate another man. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I spent many years working in the correctional facilities in California. One of the things that I wanted to come on here and talk to you all about, there's been a lot of talk online about how men humiliate women in dating and, humiliate women and their family and so on and so forth, which all of that can be true, right? But I wanted to come on here and talk to you all specifically about another type of man, and that is a man that, has this thinking where he has to get his lick back with another man, and that he is obsessed with doing it, and that's all that he could think about is getting another man back, retaliation. However, the manner with which it is usually done, which I have seen, and I've always said, that prison is it's really like a microcosm of what goes on in society. The ways that I've seen it done is that usually this man will retaliate when the other man's defenses are down, when his back is turned, with a group of other men, or when he's hurt or vulnerable or indisposed. Always, that is always the way that it's done. It's usually never a fair fight. Anybody that I used to, have on my caseload, I'm like, you don't need to be doing that. Don't be dogpiling another man. If a real man is going to, say what he needs to say and square up and have the fight be fair, not sucker punch a man when he's down. And or either target, the other thing I'll mention is target vulnerable people. So people that are, you know, cognitively challenged, medically challenged, intellectually disabled, things like that. So they prefer to have their victims vulnerable, and then it's really easy for them to come in and stomp on them and assert their dominance, right? And it's like, I'm the big man. Um, and I used to deal with this all the time. And again, trigger warning, I used to deal with this all the time because one of the things I used to have to do was interview men who had been sexually assaulted, had been raped while they were in prison. And I tell you, you know, some of the stuff that I had to, pull out of these victims, it's kind of stuff that would keep you up at night, even still many years later. Every now and then I kind of think about it, because, one of the things that I learned very quickly is that, um, not to say that men aren't brutal with women, because they are, but when it comes to another man, they can be extremely vicious. And again, the dogpiling or the group efforts to all jump assault another man, and it's not just inmates, right, that do this, right? Because I worked in a prison, but when you work in a prison, you have all these staff members that are supposed to supervise, right? So all you women that are married to these clean cut boys, good old boys that go in there, they're in on it too. In fact, I think they're more vicious than the guys like locked behind the gate. It's the ones that are not locked up that you have to worry about, because even the ones that are locked up, typically they know about politics, but the guys that work there, a lot of times they need money, so they'll make extra money and they'll orchestrate things when they feel like they've been disrespected or when they need to get money. Gladiator fights and things like that was a real thing for a long time. But there's still other ways in which they go about doing things. And I'm gonna tell you how I know, because there'd be guys that I'd have to interview that have been assaulted. All these guys are assaulting them. How are all these men going into these cells? Or how are all these men, going into the yard and assaulting you? We got gunners up on the tower. You got people out on the yards. We got a floor of staff. We got at least 6 people that are on the floors. Nobody saw anything. And not only that, a lot of times, men aren't just assaulted, they're robbed blind and things like that. So they want to again, they want to come in and take him to, it wasn't uncommon for a man to be assaulted and then go in a cell. He doesn't even have a mattress. He doesn't have a blanket. He doesn't have clothes. He doesn't have toiletries. He doesn't have food or anything, paper, pencil, nothing, because they've taken that. They've taken electronics, because again, they want to humiliate him and have everybody know who did this to him. Um, and not only that, but they want him to stay that way. So they take everything, they rape this guy, nobody better help him out. So it was a group effort, and a lot of times it was group orchestrated, but it was always attacking somebody when they were down. And it's always to try to assert dominance. This is how powerful I am, and look and see who I am, or how dare you disrespect me this way, or I want to make an example out of you and climb the ranks. And we're watching this play out nationally on many different levels with many different people, with many different men. So it's no surprise that, when men like this get out of prison, that they will do the same things with women too. But women, that's considered an easy mark. But sometimes people may draw the line with women, but a lot of times they'll do it with men. But they want to make sure that man is hurting for the rest of his life. And they want to be the one to put the nail in the coffin. And they get a special sort of gratification from that. And that is true psychopathy, antisocial personality. And a lot of times in true gladiator form, they also want an audience. The world is a stage, and they want all the attention that they can get from it. And there's a special sort of glory, a smile that they have inside, knowing that they are the one that did this to somebody else. It's like, look at my work, look at my masterpiece. And they don't care about the consequences. But again, everyone, it's sort of a full cycle. Everyone is going to get their turn at some point. So that means what goes up must always come down, and there's always going to be a price to pay. You may not see it, and it may not be for quite some time, but what goes around does eventually come back around. And I have seen it working in facilities as long as I have. A man that will do anything to get attention is a very dangerous man. A man that will do anything that will climb the ranks of power and authority is also a very dangerous man. A man who smiles to you in your face but can rape people by night is also a very dangerous man, but it happens quite a bit. But anybody who rapes people by night and wants a camera on them for the world to see, they don't give a damn about anything, and they've got nothing to lose. Watch what Dr. Jones tells you.